Welcome. So I've been getting quite a few questions around monogamy and non-monogamy. Now I'm not going to address the whole spectrum of monogamy or non-monogamy here, but I want to give you something that you can at least begin to grasp, to play with, to bring it in within yourself and understand the differences, but not so much just the differences, more which applies to you, and cultivate the courage to speak your truth in relationship. So when we speak about non-monogamy, there are various expressions to non-monogamy. And thank you to everyone that's coming on, by the way, and everyone that's watching. We're living in very interesting times at the moment, and I believe we need healthy dynamics in our relationships now more than ever. We need that support in our relationships, and if we're living in a quote unquote untruthful way, or we're not living in a fully connected way in our relationships, it makes it a great deal more challenging to deal with the pressures from the outside world, which are very normal, right? And we're going to be in greater avoidance of our shadow. We're going to be in greater avoidance of what we need to look at in order to heal from within. So monogamy and non-monogamy, let's talk about this. Non-monogamy is very natural. It's natural to human beings. There's an element of naturalness to monogamy as well, and I'll come back to that in a moment. When we're talking about non-monogamy, the expressions of that in modern world, they're so colored and varied. It's completely different. Your definition of what non-monogamy may be very different to others. So we have to get really, really clear on what we desire as individuals. What do we wish to experience and pursue? What quality of experiences do we wish to have that we feel we're most aligned with, that we're going to flourish in and be the best version of ourselves in? Now, non-monogamy or fertilization-driven sex or fertilization-driven mating is very natural within us from a genetic perspective. Now, when we dig deeper, we look at our environment also influencing that. What does that mean? That means that in times of scarcity, in times of poverty, in times of resources being really, really low, in times of high levels of conflict and war, what we're seeing is that this propensity to be non-monogamous is heightened. Why could that be? Potentially because something switches on in our bodies biologically that tells us we need to procreate, we need to mate. And so think about that for a moment. That could be something that's very real for you. Now, we also have another genealogical mechanism within us, and that's a bonding behavior. And bonding behaviors generally flourish more when society is feeling safer, when society is more grounded, when there is an excess or an abundance of resources. And people are still going to want to be promiscuous. Now, that's coming from a biological perspective, how we've evolved over millions of years. The truth of it is that where we were then and where we are now as individuals and as a more complex society has changed massively. Yes, there have definitely been socioeconomic, agenda-based reasons as to why monogamy, and by the way, culturally structural reasons why monogamy is more prevalent as a socially accepted relationship dynamic in today's world. There are reasons for this. And it's more than just sociocultural, socioeconomic. There is an element of biology there. And so it comes down to you. It comes down to what do you want? One must decipher through all the information that's out there and make a choice on what feels right for you. But the only way you're going to be able to do that is if you explore very deeply what suits you, what serves you, what feels right to you. Now that's only one part of it though, because if you don't sit with yourself, know what your truth is, identify the values of the sexual and emotional and intimate relationships you want to have, and then bring that with great clarity to your relationship dynamic, to your partner, and let them know with truth who you want to be and who you are, you'll never have a fulfilling relationship. Now, what usually stunts that communication is fear. Fear of being seen, fear of being rejected, fear of being abandoned. And so when we strip all of that back, again, the nuances of our modern world tells us that we need to do our inner work, our shadow work. Doing our shadow work, coming face to face with the parts of us that are in fear or in pain or haven't processed trauma. It's so important to build self-confidence and clarity and authentic communication with others. And when we're able to do that, we're able to determine what's really important to us. Someone asked me, can I have a monogamous relationship and be deeply happy? And the answer is sure, you can. If that's what you really want, and you know that's what you want, and you're able to express that with depth of clarity and conviction and compassion to other people, there's always going to be someone that wants what you want. It's about finding that person by finding yourself. Knowing what you want is paramount in any relationship dynamic. That's the first part of monogamy versus non-monogamy. It's not versus, but monogamy or non-monogamy. And I'll come back with a great deal more on this. Blessings, I'll see you soon.